It's indeed a pleasure and an honor for me to be orchestrating this August panel and in front of such an August gathering that is there. To start with, I would like to thank each one of you for staying back so late. And as Chakravarti Garu said, this is a topic which is of key interest to all of us right now. The way things are happening, I think before 23 November, things were still going on fine, but all of a sudden, we were happy with our Googles of the world, we were happy with our search engines, etc. But all of a sudden, everything got disrupted and ChatGPT came up. And then we realized that for the first time, journal purpose AI has come into picture, right? Earlier, we had natural language processing, we had so many other scientific applications of AI, but with ChatGPT coming in, it has become general purpose, right? Anyone and everyone can start using it and solve. Should we be afraid of AI? Definitely not. It is just a tool to help us. IR 4.0 is moving to IR 5.0 and 6.0, right? Human centricity is the most important thing. Cobots, co-pilots, co-everything is now there. And that is where we are today. So how do we skill? Unfortunately, we are in a, I'm sure all of you would have seen a Kerala snake boat race. Have you seen that? Right? You're sitting in this way, you're rowing this way, and you're moving in that direction. Right? You're seeing whatever you have traversed and saying, oh, everything is good, all is well. Right? But we don't know what is there existing behind us, and that is what is the challenge that faces all of us today. Be it in terms of skilling, be it in terms of production, being in terms of packaging, being in terms of research, everything. And that is where I think, and I would like to compliment the organizers on organizing a seminar on this itself. I think it's very, very important because we need to change. The only person who's happy with the change is the baby who has spoiled his diaper, right? Apart from that, if anyone says you have to change, we say, no, we can't change. But change is inevitable, and that's where we are today. How do we ensure that we are able to understand what the future holds and what should be done about it? And I'm fortunate here that I've been given this job of orchestrating and learning from all these experts over here. And as has been introduced by Dr. Chakravarti, who himself is an exponent on everything, and he's a lighthouse as far as skilling and other things are concerned. I'm fortunate to have known him for the last 6.5 years, ever since I've come here and started heading task. So without further ado, I think I'll jump directly into the session itself. And the panel is extremely diverse, where we have an innovation and incubation center, which is Dr. Anil Kondareddy. We have Dr. Natraj, who is from the Indian Institute of Packaging. Then we have Dr. Srinivas, who is from the Reddy's Institute of Life Sciences. And of course, we have Federation of Asian Biotech Association, Dr. Jagdish. So, gentlemen, if you could take just about 2 to 3 minutes, introduce yourselves and talk about what exactly you are doing to meet the challenges thrown up right now by the changing technologies. So let me start with Dr. Anil itself.
Good evening, everybody. I am Anil. I head the Bioincubation Center called Aspire Bionest. This is located at University of Hyderabad. So Aspire Bionest is one of the largest bioincubators in the country, perhaps the largest for any university-based ecosystem. This is a part of a Section 8 company started by University of Hyderabad called Aspire. So the motto of Aspire is to improve, to enhance the translatability of research outcomes of the faculty into a tangible products, and under which right now we have a 3 incubation center called Aspire Bionest that takes care about all life sciences related startups. We have Aspire TBI that takes care about all pharma chemistry related startups. We have a third one called Tide, and this works on IT, electronics and communications. So altogether we cover almost all the areas of the deep tech innovation, and we are considered as one of the best incubation ecosystem per se in the country. And for the laurels, we are DSR certified, and we were awarded by the BIRAC as one of the best emerging bioincubator in the country. And in the past 5 years, we have supported little more than 100 startups physically. For many of you, maybe 100 sounds very less, but 100 deep tech startups that were physically incubated. And many of them have moved out to set up their own manufacturing facilities. And some of them have already entered into the market with their products. So thank you, CII and Dr. Chakravarti Garu, for inviting me and making part of this August team. Looking forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Jagdish.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Jagdish. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of two organizations. One is called Federation of Asian Biotech Association. If you know how Hyderabad has evolved in biotech, like you see Genome Valley and everything, right? There was one organization behind with BioAsia and other things. It's our organization, Federation of Asian Biotech Association. It started 21 years back. It used to organize BioAsia. Now it is completely Telangana government handholded. It is taking care of it. But right now what we do is that we work in 3 segments. One is policy making. You all have seen COVID pandemic. And there's going to be other pandemic that you should be prepared for. It's called antimicrobial resistance, where we take like peppermints antibiotics whenever we have cold or something, right? Or chickens, fish, everything, we feed antibiotics because we want them to sustain and make business out of it. But indirectly, we are going to encounter that. So we are working with governments how to deal with it, one of the policy. And any other policy, like how to deal with AI in pharma, life sciences, or regulatory reforms, we work in that. That's one of the segment. And the second segment is academy. I mean, if you look at all the industry, there's a lot of skill gap. I mean, we get a lot of requests. Can I hire like 100 QA, QC personnel? Or otherwise, can I hire a CEO for my R&D manufacturing plant? And when you screen them, there's not that much of talent that is available. We have a lot of students, a lot of people who are coming out from the colleges, but unfortunately, they are not skilled. That's where we are helping. We built an institute in the sense like an idea. It's called FABA Academy, Federation of Asian Biotech Association Academy, where we train students on futuristic skills, like how to do laboratory management, like skills, hard skills, soft skills, and we try to provide them employment. And so far, we have trained over 30,000 individuals from past 5 years. We also work with industries. Within the industry also, we train them like how to use their data for, let's say, making new antibiotics or new vaccines. That's one second wing. And the third wing, which is my core, is FABA entrepreneurship. And the entrepreneurship, where we took a major challenge. I mean, if you see Indian government is very proud that there are 10,000 companies, 15,000 companies, 20,000 companies, that the startups that have come out because of government's help. But if you have seen last week or last before week news, 11,000 startups, especially in life sciences, have shut down. Why? There's no ecosystem. I mean, we are proud building incubators. I mean, his is one of the best incubator in the country. But the incubation, once the incubation is over, or especially the government support gets over, there's nobody. I mean, we are proud of having pharma and biotech capital, right? But which pharma or biotech is going and investing in startups, which is actually looking into innovation? That's why we built an instrument called Whale Tank, like Shark Tank, where whales are bigger fishes, and patient capital. And we work with several venture capitalists from all over the world and project them the Indian good biotech companies, which are sourced from all over the India, and help them to get investment. And we provide regulatory landscape, we provide mentoring. We also have a manufacturing site in Genome Valley. So I think my Professor Redana was there in the morning today. He might have explained you about Whale Tank. So on November 14th, we have this big session where around 75 startups, which are sourced from all over the India, will be presenting their innovation to venture capitalists at our Indian School of Business on November 14th. If somebody is interested in innovation, please contact me. So this is where we work. We are here to bridge the gap between industry, academia, and government through policy making, through skill development, and through entrepreneurship. That's what I do. Thanks.
Wonderful. Dr. Srinivas, over to you, sir.
So in the first place, I should thank Chakravarti Garu and also CII for having me here. I kind of wondered, how do I emphasize innovation in a packaging-centric meeting? Then I realized the end goal of any good innovation, especially in pharma and life sciences, is to reach a milestone where it can be packaged. So that's kind of a hallmark of the thing that we have crossed that line. We will be entering into the society and entering the the end users. So yeah, so myself, I'm the director of an institute called Dr. Reddy's Institute of Life Sciences, which is a very unique institution. It was set up under the visionary leadership of Dr. Kalamanji Reddy in 2004 and Shri Chandrababu Naidu. The whole idea was to support the innovation and ecosystem in the state and around the state. And as you know, pharma was something that has been a very powerful area in the state of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. And in the early 2000s, there was a lot of need for us to not only come up with improving the generics in terms of also coming up with patent IP-free processes, because we were signatory to the patent treaty. And at the same time, there was a lot of emphasis on looking at indigenous, India-centric health problems and come up with indigenous drug discovery. So it was at that point of time that this institute was set up. We are located in the University of Hyderabad campus. Now Government of Telangana, University and Dr. Reddy's are the three partners for this institute. Little bit about the institute. We focus a lot in working with the pharma companies, especially in the area of process chemistry, because today's drugs are no longer paracetamol or naproxen. They're way too complex. So we do work in terms of coming up with improved processes, sustainable processes, creating IP. We also at the same time work on certain disease areas like Jagdish was mentioning, in looking at new druggable targets and how do we tackle in the area of antimicrobial resistance. But the other thing that we have started is in the context of genetic diseases, rare diseases. As you see, India with a 1.4 billion, even 2 patients in 1,000 is no longer rare. So we have been focusing a lot on building the models, understanding the disease biology, understanding how from a gene to the eventual phenotype it happens, working with clinicians. So there's a lot of innovation areas that we have been looking at. One area maybe I'll try to touch upon sometime later is in the context of the pharma industry, while the research and innovation has been happening at a very rapid pace, the manufacturing has somewhat been rather obsolete. It's been a bit archaic. The same reactors are being used more or less for the past 100 years. So we are looking at new modernization, more efficiency. How do we manufacture or develop processes that can translate from lab to manufacturing in a seamless manner? And that's where, as Chakravarti Garu mentioned, I have been championing the area of flow chemistry. So there is a flow chemistry technology hub that was set up with support from Government of Telangana,
Right.
Dr. Reddy's and Loris Labs. So all of them have come together, a bit modeled along what is there right now in UK in terms of technology creation hubs. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Over to you, Dr. Nataraj.
Very good evening. First of all, I would like to thank CCI, Mr. Daniel, and I would like to mention a special thanks to my Guru Garu, Chakravarti AVPS Garu, because I know for the last 25 years he was shaping me, not only me, my center, IIP Hyderabad Center, when I was the first person to start this center in 2001. I was alone. Then the day 3, he has joined. In fact, they were the instrument to bring this center here. So not only that, finding out the right experts from the industries to form a regional committee. So my present chairman, Mr. Shankar Patel, is there. He's a managing partner of Sri Shakti Timbers. RC member, Mr. Chandi Prasad, they are all experts. They come together. The connectivity between the industries and the institute, keeping alive and taking them. And my students are there behind, and some of alumni are also there. Our main activities of IIP is testing and evaluation of various packaging materials. What you are seeing, discussion is going on in 2 days. Then IIP is the competent authority to issue the dangerous goods certification for the companies who are exporting their products from India to other countries. One of this is bulk drugs or batteries. Nowadays, batteries are also going up. The other activities we are into the education field. So IIP Hyderabad, IIP was conducting a postgraduate diploma, which was very, very super. Its 40th batch was starting in Calcutta. Other centers. Now Hyderabad has gone a step ahead. It's the only course in IIP where we started Master of Science in Packaging Technology, which is equivalent to MTech in Packaging, collaborated with Jawaharlal Technological University, next to School of Michigan, I believe, right? So sixth batch is going to commence by next fifth batch. So far completed very well. And the other activities, we are into consultations, give services to various industries, food and pharma, and any other industries here. Then we are into conducting various training programs, seminars, conferences and all. By the way, when I was telling conference in the month of January, we are coming up with a very good conference on sustainable innovative techniques in agri and agri-based seeds, seeds and feed packaging. And followed by, we are coming up a conference in the dairy and dairy products. Then in the February, we are just, we may be coming up with, medical devices. So, and this November 15th, we are having a small program for the down level startups, self-help group women in Vizag. So many programs we are doing for the self-help also to.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Just a quick question. How many of you know about TASK? Can I see a show of hands? Couple of you. Okay, so I'll take a very quick 30 seconds helicopter overview of what TASK is about. 2004, we were set up as Institution for Electronic Governance by the then government. Then it was called as Jawahar Nehru Knowledge Centers. In 2014, they did a survey of about 1,400 organizations here, only to realize that less than 10% locals were employed, and the people who were employed are not matching up to the expectations of the industry. So we were created with a focus on employability for, skilling for employability was the main thing. I was fortunate when I moved out of NASCOM Foundation as the CEO, I was headhunted for this profile. And ever since that time, we have looked at our mission being democratizing opportunities. And how do we do that? It's skilling for employability, providing the right, ready, trained resources as, when, where a corporate wants them. And the third is creating an innovation and entrepreneurial mindset. So that's what the agenda is. We have skilled, ever since we became TASK, more than 10,53,000 students. We work with 770 colleges, including 58 pharma colleges, all degree, life sciences, etc. colleges over here. All the tribal welfare, social welfare, all these colleges are part of us. All the polytechnics are part of us. All the engineering colleges are part of TASK itself. And we also look at not only skilling students, but faculty members also. And we have run programs on vaccine skill development way back in 2019 and 20. At that time, we have done that along with Bharat Biotech, Shanta Biotech, etc., then Shanta Biotech. But yes, we have done programs with all of them also. And we run programs on, QA, QC, etc., the standard. But we would like to mention over here, any one of you would like resources. More than 800 companies advertise their entry-level jobs on our portal. I invite you to have a look at our portal, and in case if you feel that you are looking at resources, we'll be happy to work with you and provide you the resources. Coming back to the discussions over here, let me move on to you, Dr. Anil. Now, when you're talking about innovation, incubation, typically these words haven't been heard in life sciences, pharma, and these kinds of industry. Typically, we talk about IT and those kind of things, right? Silicon Valley was there, all that thing. Help me understand, what is the ecosystem of innovation and incubation in this space? Of course, we have two of them here, but more about what exactly happens there. What do you do? What are the skills that you look at?
Yes, sir. Incubation in the life sciences space, especially in the biotechnology pharma space, has been very minimal until past a decade. So it's when the government started programs like BIRAC, BioNest, and TBI, Technology Business Incubators, under NSTDB of a government of India's Department of Science and Technology. So these are the two flagship schemes that offer educational institutes to establish an incubation centers. And they're in general sector agnostic, but BIRAC generally proposes anything related to human wellness. It could be healthcare, agriculture, or even they support IT also. So why there is a less presence of this? Because these are deep tech areas. You need very expensive equipment and trained manpower to run the show, and a pool of mentors who can guide the people who come with just an idea, very nascent idea. So handhold them until they make that idea into technology. So this was not there. This was not the case earlier, but with establishing these entities and slowly adding a lot of incubation centers in the India perspective. We have more than 600 incubation centers all over India. But if you look into this space, life sciences space, maybe 30, 40, not more than that. So because this itself says that the quantum is very less. The reason being, I said, it is very expensive to set up, not only set up, but running. You could imagine even a small equipment. I mean, many of you are coming from the pharma. A small equipment in the R&D scale, you would have to spend somewhere around 20, 30 lakhs. And the half-life being only 3-4 years, and maintenance cost is very significant, right? So if you have such a setup and you're not expecting any profit to generate out of the equipment, then it becomes very difficult for the entities to run the show. So just because we were in the University of Hyderabad and university was very generous to give us a good quality space, so we are in this position today. So the BIRAC gave us a good amount of money to set up this bionest. Then University of Hyderabad gave us a lab, I mean civil structure created. And then we kick-started in 2017. We were inaugurated in 2018 by Professor G. Padmanabhan. Then in the initial days, it was very low. I mean, the turnout, as you mentioned, so people were not aware that such an incubation centers are existing for the pharma space,
Right.
a life sciences space.
Right.
And slowly, fortunately or unfortunately, we never had an opportunity to advertise ourselves. So the people like all of you who visit us, so they tell about us outside, so people come on their own. And for the past 3 years, we are running with 100% occupancy. We don't have a space. So if somebody is coming for a new space, they'll have to wait for quite some time. And we give initially for 3 years and followed by 2 more years of extension. Okay. Because in the life science space, we can't expect overnight results. The persistency is very much required. That's where we give initially for 3 years of space, 3 years of incubation space followed by extension. And our rejection rate also was quite high. At some point of time, we were rejecting 60% of the applications. But still, we are doing good. And for this matter, Hyderabad is, again, a hub of bio-incubation centers. You name IKP, you name AACCCMB, we name us. And we have one in Naipur, and we have one in LV Prasad Institute. And I think Hyderabad is the city with the largest number of bio-incubation centers over India. And even if you look into the funding by BIRAC, I think Hyderabad has more bionests when you compare to any part of India, including Delhi. So coming back to the initial thing, like when startup come, what we offer is we provide a plug and play leasable lab space with access to all the equipment. When I say all the equipment, we do have a limitation. We may not have every equipment a startup required, but advantage being that we are we are within the University of Hyderabad ecosystem. By then the management gave us an edge that any of the startup that is incubated under Aspire incubation ecosystem, so they could access any of the equipment that is available within the University of Hyderabad by paying a very nominal. So that becomes very advantageous for us, not only the equipment access, but otherwise you become a part of the university intranet where you could access to thousands of, hundreds of thousands of subscribed journals, free internet and whatnot. It is almost like a faculty member enjoying the university facilities. Being a startup, you would also enjoy the same privileges. So that becomes a very advantageous for us, and we are also sitting in a very renowned building called School of Life Sciences where 70 plus faculty are sitting. You name any corner in the biology, you'll find at least one faculty working on the particular thing. So that becomes easy both for us and for also the startups who come to us. So if they have any issue while they execute their tasks, if they have any problem, and we could easily connect with a faculty member who could help them. So that becomes another advantage for us. So these are some of the reasons for us being one of the best incubator. And also, I quote, majority of the contribution comes from the University of Hyderabad. And people like Dr. Srinivas Oruganti, we have a very elite member of elite panel of directors and advisors, so who guide us on day-to-day basis how to go and what to add. And we keep evolving. It didn't happen in overnight, and over the time of 8 years, we are in this stage. And this is also worth noting that we have been helping a lot of tier 2, tier 3 institute to set up their own incubation centers.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. I think you're talking about democratizing opportunity, then that's what it is. I think we need to reach out to the people who are underserved and then give them an opportunity, because they are as bright as anyone else. And that's important.
Yes. Yeah, we have helped more than 20 tier 2 institute to set up their own incubation centers.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I think that deserves a clap. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So, Dr. Jagadeeshan, now we have understood the incubation, etc. I would like to understand the acceleration process, right? You spoke about the 14th August, the whale thing. But apart from that, what are the other avenues that exist today where startups are encouraged and they are funded, etc.? Also, I think what is important for us to understand today, and when I go to a technical school and I say, okay, I want you to create a solution, what they would do is use an Arduino board or a Raspberry Pi, put a couple of IoT sensors, right? If it is something moving, they will put some smart motors, print some 3D parts, put it. Now the solution is ready. They will start going and looking out what it can solve, right? So help us understand the acceleration process, the funding process, and of course, I don't think everyone would be ready to go into incubators right from day one. And when we were discussing, you spoke to me about the FABA Academy. So help us understand that also.
It's a very complicated question, sir. I need to think. So, as far as I see, I'm talking only about life sciences sector.
Sure, absolutely.
Because if you look at Swiggy's and Zomato's, that don't fall into our domain, and
Agreed.
moreover, their acceleration is different. As far as I see, India doesn't have proper acceleration support at all for the life sciences. So incubators, there are no accelerators. They're not built, or maybe they're still not in the thought process of the government. Some companies who are actually getting succeeded in biotech space, when I analyze with my own intuition, what I see is that they are reinventing. Like, they mobilize their network,
Right.
mainly the network, who have access to. If, for example, I went to one of the incubators recently in Tirupati. If you look at the quality of startups there and they have access to, and if I compare the same kind of companies here in Hyderabad, the network is completely different in Hyderabad. Even in Bhubaneswar, I was there. So those guys, they're trying to do something cutting edge, like RNA medicine or something, but the ecosystem doesn't exist. And many of these companies, they die. They just fall out, and it's very difficult.
Ask them to shift to Hyderabad.
So there's like, it's complicated again, there's so many things. They do come, and we had UK delegation. So there was this panel before, right? So they're also trying to do a couple of programs. I really don't know, there no acceleration exists. So we have to build programs. For example, my background is that I come from European Union. So I worked for European Union, and we had a proper accelerator program where if somebody, an incubatee comes, we had Go Global, we had a couple of mentors where startups will be, we used to invest 300,000 euros on one mentor, which is maybe 3 crores or something on one mentor, and we asked that mentor to take them to become unicorn. Can I build such programs? Does India has that programs? We don't have yet. I think maybe that's where we are trying to build through Whale Tank. So in Whale Tank, what we have tried so far is that investment is something that we are trying to crack first, and we also built a manufacturing site. If some incubatee finishes their 5 years tenure, and moreover, the incubator, they have limitations of space and the rent and everything. We built a manufacturing site where it's again plug and play. They can come, manufacture, we help them out in business, we help them out in mentoring. So it's like a unique model that in India has not seen yet. We are trying to build, but it's very capital intensive. Very, very capital intensive, because a simple machine may cost a couple of crores, a manufacturing plant, a regulatory, understanding this clinical trials and everything. It's so expensive. We took the bet. We took a bold bet. A couple of investors are got convinced and trying to invest. But it's a long journey, sir. Long journey. We are talking biotech acceleration. It's going to be very difficult. Government is trying its best. People like us are trying our best. But any student who is thinking of a clinical regulatory-driven product or something, it's a journey that they have to take, and it's a very difficult journey. Yeah.
No, I agree with you completely. In fact, one of the biggest challenges that we are facing in our pharma college is I'm not able to take them to the pharma industry because of your FDA norms and other norms where everything is proprietary, everything is undercover, etc. So how do our students get access to that? And that is one of the challenges that we are also facing. But thanks for bringing up that point. I think it's important, and if ever a report comes out of this conference, I think we need to mention that we have to have some acceleration program. And I think Department of Biotechnology, I used to give them training way back in 1988, 89. So it has been into existence so long, and still we don't have an acceleration is something that we need to think about.
At least structured or
Structured, yes,
yeah.
of course. It's important. And I think, so coming from that perspective, Dr. Srinivas, let me move on to you. So, innovation is happening in life sciences. We have seen the result, over here, Hyderabad is proud that we have Bharat Biotech, which came up with the first vaccine. 40% of global vaccines are manufactured over here, 33% of bulk drugs. Help me understand, what is the focus area for these innovation centers, especially in life sciences? Also, if you could throw some light on the role of sustainability, ethics, etc. over there, because with AI coming in today, everyone is using AI, correct? So help me understand also the technology angle also over there. Sorry, it's a long question with too many.
No, I think the future is generally very complex, right?
Correct.
So let me take the example of the need to innovate. One classic example that I have followed is Eastman Kodak,
Yes.
which was one of the most happening companies out there, and then they just went away because they didn't want to shift from a film to a digital. But thankfully, our Indian companies in the pharma and the life sciences space are certainly much more intelligent, much more well-informed. So there are two things I just want to summarize. As Chakravarti Garu mentioned, and you also mentioned the numbers, like we are certainly known for the generics. We're also known for the vaccines, 30%. Hyderabad itself contributes. But what is very important is there was an article sometime, I don't remember the year, 2017-18, in a journal called Chem, where there's a significant portion of medicines that are getting drugs, NCs, new chemical entities that are getting approved by the FDA or EMA, they are actually happening from the CDMOs in India. So CRO and CDMO infrastructure has contributed to a global acceleration in the number of products that are eventually getting developed. And if you see and trace the data in the last decade or two, or especially in the last 15 years, we have seen medicines first in class for a variety of indications which never had a cure or a therapy later.
Right.
And I think it's a proud moment that India has created the service-driven infrastructure, both at the research as well as at the manufacturing, which has catered to it. Having said this, yes, certainly on completely end-to-end innovation, indigenous drugs, because they're all driven more by the cost of clinical trials, we have been a bit on the back foot. But the Indian government has also looked at India-centric innovation. ICMR is putting a lot of efforts on amplifying the clinical trial, the ecosystem in the country, which would hopefully in the coming years see some lot of indigenous drugs, just like Bharat Biotech's vaccine. We can see also some drugs, new medicines coming here. I just want to highlight on two words. One is precision and the other is personalization. If you see in the last decade, a lot of medicines for very specific patients with a certain genetic mutation are being kind of approved, right? They are very precise and they are targeted at a very specific level. Because the entire concept of medicine is changing from treating a peripheral symptom. We are now looking into identifying the root cause and then identifying the protein or enzyme inhibited or amplify its activity to reduce. But now things are changing much more. One wants to even cure at a genetic level. They want to use some gene editing like CRISPR or look at some gene therapy. We have seen that Novartis drug for SMA, where you're trying to kind of correct the thing at a very fundamental level. So the paradigms are shifting, and there is a lot of transition happening in the innovation ecosystem in the life sciences. In India, focusing more on the CDMO approach to support such innovation. But as you can see, one of the most happening news is the indigenous CAR T therapy, again for cancer, which has come from a startup in IIT Bombay. So, yeah, Rahul Pawar, he also got an award in the FABA meeting last time for innovation. Right. So I think a lot is happening on that. And since one of the drivers for this, I feel, is deep science, our ability to bring back a lot of talent from abroad, and also our educational systems are catering to a lot of innovation. We have more PhDs, high quality, working at the cutting edge. But the level of instrument intensive, Indian pharma has some of the most expensive instrument. No longer is like you have to wait for a few days, everything happens in seconds. But the third, I think, is probably the main game changer would be the use of AI, machine learning, all the, maybe the deep neural network based approaches and all that. Why? Because it's able to identify those things which are previously not treatable. There are something called undruggable targets, something that we thought we cannot touch, but now we can touch. A simple case of Google's AlphaFold. Usually we have to know the structure of a protein to develop a molecule which can bind and inhibit it. But when you don't know the structure of a protein, what do? But if you look at AlphaFold, it can even speculate and give the potential structure of a protein, which gives us a working point, right? So there's a lot of integration happening in terms of AI and all these things. But the bigger challenge right now is we can be more efficient in what we do.
Right.
But the question is, are we going to be more sustainable in what we do? I heard Chakravarti Garu emphasizing the circular economy, circularity, net zeros, but circularity is a very important aspect. And building it by design would require a lot of new technologies and doing some kind of a life cycle assessment much before even a technology is commercialized. Right. And that would require a lot of data, a lot of new ways of thinking, data crunching and algorithms. I think with the onset of all these very powerful natural language models and others, I guess it's moving. Previously, we used to have a CSO in each company. I think now, literally every company that I meet in India, they have a chief CIO, information officer, with a bracket AI, ML. So it's something that is happening. I think we are moving in the right direction. What I see, Dr. Sinha, is like, I think the boundaries between different industries is coming together. The best practices from a semiconductor industry may be adopted in a pharma, and perhaps vice versa from other areas. So this is where the trends are happening.
And if you look at NEP also, we are talking interdisciplinary, intradisciplinary, multidisciplinary. I think that's where we need to move. And you're absolutely right. In fact, if I had a crystal ball and I was gazing at it, I would have said, like earlier there used to be an EDP department in every user industry. Now you'll have an AI and technology department in every user industry, right? So technology is going to be part of everything. That's absolutely there. Now, just on sustainability, right? I think that's a big thing that we need to focus on, right? I think when we talk about even the number crunching that happens, and second is data. During our day and age when we used to do programming, there used to be a concept of GIGO, garbage in, garbage out, gold in, gold out. So do we have that data? Because one thing which one of my students, we run a program on innovation and entrepreneurship, which is called as numeric 4TY, Innovation for Telangana Youth. This is, anyone can log in and sign on. This is a virtual program. So one of the persons in that program was looking at, normally the cattle, etc., when they are roaming around in field, you don't know when a spider or a snake, which is poisonous, bites them, right? The farmer would never understand that. So he was looking at IoT-based sensors, etc., to monitor the entire health, etc., of the kettle, so that the milk may not go to the market. And it was coming from that perspective also. But the point was there was no data available, right? All the veterinary hospitals, etc., never had any records of all these things. So I think that becomes a major challenge. But of course, we are saying 15 years of records are available, and that can be used. So I think that'll be wonderful.
I think across all the functions, there's a lot of data integration that's happening. Again, sustainability to me, I see it as also a very perspective-driven, because ESG is one way of looking at it, energy is one way of looking at it. But as a chemist, as a manufacturing, we look at what are the solvents or the reagents, or what do we use, and in terms of what will be the environmental impact, how much of it can be minimized, how much of it can be traced, and so that you don't have any inadvertent, thing into the atmosphere. And most of it, I think, it's all boiling down to using the data to go back fundamentally to the right design, so that we can get it first time right. I think that's where it is. I think on the digital health part, what you just mentioned, and also a classic case of example where people who were exposed to, the asbestos dust or during, mining,
Correct.
they were all diagnosed as potential tuberculosis patients. But at the root cause, one could differentiate, and there is also this remote way of analysis.
Right.
I think these models are really going to support, and we'll have to kind of use it intelligently and appropriately going forward.
Fantastic. Moving to you, Mr. Nataraj, I think all the innovation, etc., will bring the right kind of things to the market. And what we have been seeing is, of course, earlier we were talking about 20%, 25%, in fact, a couple of years ago. If I remember correctly, my NASCOM days, we used to look at drugs were fake, right? Today, if we look at it, a couple of drugs which were being manufactured, which were not, the proper drugs, those brands started putting in QR codes. If we look at the packaging, I think that plays a key part, right? While the doctor recommends the medicine, I think somewhere it also depends on the packaging, etc., that it reaches the people safe and everything else. So help us understand what is the innovation that is happening in packaging industry, point number one. And point number two is, how are you keeping pace with all these changes that are happening frequently?
Well, sir, the first answer that packaging sector is evolving with intelligent and eco-friendly solutions to enhance sustainability and meeting the consumer demands or challenges or whatever it is. And with the help of using the Internet of Packaging, active packaging, nanotechnology, nowadays edible packaging is coming, recyclable, reuse, all these biodegradable materials like options and all. The second one, the technologies, as rightly he said that the AI-driven designs in packaging also is now picking up very fast. Then smart sensors, 3D printing, then robotic packaging, automatizations, streamline operations. Reduce cost to address challenges which is rising from packaging waste, now online shipping and all. So this is the technology AI is coming in this field very fastly in the packaging field also.
Okay. No, it is interesting that you mentioned that, because I was surprised that Multivac has set up a GDC over here. Yeah, GCC over here. They have set up that thing recently over here, just so that they can actually analyze the data that is coming in and what are the fault tolerant systems they can create in their packaging machines and everything else. So I think this industry also is moving in that direction. Of course, healthcare, life sciences is the first place where AI had been used earlier also. When I used to teach AI way back in 92, 93, sorry, that'll help you understand what my age is, but still, when I used to teach that at that time, it used to be artificial intelligence and machine and expert system instead of machine learning. It was expert systems, and what we used to do is capture the explicit knowledge and the tacit knowledge of experts. Explicit knowledge was very simple. You put a thermometer in your mouth. If the temperature is more than 98.6, you have fever, right? Which still is a rule that is there. Tacit knowledge used to be the gut feel, where he used to put his, fingers on your pulse and then say, okay, you've got an upset stomach. Probably he also didn't know what it was. What we are establishing through data right now, and that's where we are. So I think the more accurate our data is, the more collaborative our data is, the more available the data is, I think better it will be for everyone, right? So on that note, I would like to throw the floor open for questions. Any questions to this august panel, please? Anyone?
Well, there's so much of overwhelming knowledge
Okay.
the people.
Yeah.
Just now I saw, it's a little dip, but still it's 9,000 people watching you, all the people.
Wow.
And it's a wonderful panel.
Thanks.
I could not have asked more.
So I will just
yeah.
take one more question
Please
to all of them,
continue.
right? In 3 words, if you have to describe the future, right? What will be those 3 words? It's a fire round.
Better packaging, better living.
Fantastic. Dr. Srinivas,
I start with that.
we go this way now.
Okay, but this way?
Yeah.
I think the 3 words would be on humans, sustainability, and environment. I think
Wonderful.
these are the
Perfect.
3 have to be
Perfect.
taken
Very
care
nice.
Very nice. Dr. Jagdish.
I don't know, sir. I think happiness is one thing that we really have to struggle, because with the disruption of our minds, with outsourcing our brain to the computers and the AI, I see that we are all headed to Parkinson's, dementias and everything. And so your brain health, extremely important for happiness. And then of course environment, sustainability, taking care of your plants, animals, living together with them through one health approach. So one health and happiness, and other one is, I think that's enough, sir.
Okay.
Feasibility, sustainability, and scalability.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I think this completely summarizes the entire discussion, because I think technology is here to stay. We have to use it to our benefit, so that, of course, the 2 frontiers that everyone is trying to push in life sciences, one is increase the age of human life. You have technology where they go inside your body as capsules, go treat cancers, and they get ejected, right? India also, in fact, I believe AIG hospital already has that technology here. The second one is, of course, coming down to the 100-day period. From 15 years of vaccine development, how do you make that happen in 100 days? So I think we are going to live in, as Confucius used to say, may you live in interesting times. Times can't be more interesting than what we are today. It's how we are able to take the challenges and solve them. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for such a patient listening. And I think the entire August panel over here deserves a round of applause.